Alrighty. Nebraska 68, Akron 0. It was a great game. In today's video, I want to talk about defense, special teams, offense, a couple hot takes, and then go over two different games, Michigan versus Oklahoma and Iowa versus Iowa State. And then, of course, we're going to finish off with 3 questions for you, and I'll also post those in the description. Oh, actually, the comments. But defensive analysis, I wanted to start there because last week we had a lot of questions on defense. Is the defense good? Is Cincinnati just really good? What was kind of going on there? We know the offense, or at least we think the offense should be really good, so let's dive into the defense analysis first. So, first thing, I feel that our defense played very well despite having no sacks. At least I don't remember seeing a sack. There was a lot of pressures. There was a lot of hurries. We just couldn't get the quarterback down. But we got to the quarterback. We caused pressure. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, especially, going into now an FCS school next week, and then into Michigan with the freshman quarterback that's missing their head coach. Getting to the quarterback, that's the first thing. If you get a sack, great. But if you throw them off, that's where good things happen. Outside of the defensive line, I don't have anything for the linebackers. They did pretty good. I think they were solid. But secondary, I feel like we got a top secondary. When I say top, I don't mean we have the number 1 secondary. I don't know enough to say that. But with how many guys we have on the secondary that are just dogs, that are really, 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 really good, we got to be at least top 20, top 15, top 10. Especially having a lockdown corner like Sierra Wright. You don't know he's playing. And that's a good thing for a corner. They don't even want to pass the ball to who he's defending because he's locking them down so much that he takes whoever he's guarding out of the game completely. That is good. That's something that we haven't had. Even Tommy Hill, really good. Had injuries, whatever, but I don't feel that he was a lockdown corner. He was a really good corner, but Sierra Wright is a lockdown corner. You're up against him, good luck. I want to see him go up against a guy like Jeremiah Smith or something like that and see what happens. But outside of him, the second biggest thing I've just noticed is Deshaun Singleton. Does he just play like Derwin James? I would hate to be a football player or a running back or a quarterback or a wide receiver, whoever. You get the ball in your hands and you see number 8 running at you. Good luck. He is a train going down the rail and there is no stopping him at all. And he will run you over and blow you up. I just feel like Derwin James is a good comp for him. And it's really good that we have a mix of a secondary and it's not just all lockdown corners. I know he plays rover. That's more of a secondary linebacker position. And to see him doing that is amazing. Now, to talk about a little bit more defensive line real quick. Cade Petrock? I don't know. It's those weird last names that get me. But Cade Petrock, he's a dog. I'm so happy that we had someone on the defensive line pop out in this game. We heard some negative things last week with some of the defensive linemen. I don't really like talking negatively about specific players too often, so I'm not going to. But Cade is a dog. It's good to see a defensive lineman step up and start to make plays instead of linebackers having to do it. Because if we have a 4-man rush and we don't have linebackers coming in, we need the defensive line to cause issues. He was one of those guys that caused issues and caused a safety along with the other defensive members, but he's the one that tackled the guy as a safety. Defense, really good. We still need to see improvements. We need to see them against a team like Michigan, but we will get there in 2 weeks. So special teams, that's the next analysis. I usually don't like starting things off with a negative, but Alvano, it's an interesting story seeing him going from kicking a game-winning field goal in Memorial Stadium for high school when he was at Westside to now he can't even get a kickoff off. without it going out of bounds. It really sucks. It's sad to see it. I hope that he's okay. It's a mental game when you're talking about sports, but I don't think we should even try to trot him out there at any point for any type of kicks at all. I don't like saying those words, but we have Cunanan and we have Hole. Heck, we could probably even throw Camden Cook out there to do a kickoff before I would do Alvano again. Alvano's a no-go. Do not have him out there again the entire season. That's my take. A little bit of a hot take. We haven't gotten there yet, but I hope he can get things figured out and just relax, see how the other guys are doing it, and maybe next year he can have more of a piece. Barney did well on punt returns. We're still waiting on that first touchdown return. But 87 yards, I think, is where he was at. That's pretty good. I feel like that's the most yards we've seen punt return-wise the past, 6 years probably? I don't know. That's probably not correct. But 87 punt return yards is really, really good to see. So that's one step closer to being the number one punt return team. Are we there yet? Definitely not. But this looks a lot better than it has been in the past. And also, blocked field goal, Riley Van Poppel. That was great to see. I was really hoping Sierra Wright, if you can't tell, he's one of my favorite players. I was really hoping Sierra Wright got his hands on that one. He didn't, but Van Poppel did, and I couldn't be happier that we got a blocked field goal. So, and to see Van Poppel do it, it's really nice. That's really all special teams wise. So we're going to talk offense real quick. This is going to be a little bit more of a general discussion because I think we all saw, if you watch the game, how good the offense is. But we're going to hit the three top things that I take away from the offense/team. Culture and leadership. I remember the last couple quarterbacks that we've had before Dylan. They did not act like he did. They would go out on offense, do their thing, score or not score, whatever. They'd go back to the sidelines and just stand there. Be quiet, reserved. When you are trying to lead a football team, and that's what a quarterback needs to be as a leader, and you are a silent leader, I don't think it works as well, especially in a state that our program is in. Now, if we were like Ohio State, okay, you know what, maybe that works because we have this pedigree, or Michigan, maybe not now, but Michigan with Harbaugh, you have this pedigree of, we don't need to get excited. But in the state that we're in, we need that cheerleader on the sidelines, cheering on the entire team, whether he's out there or not on offense, and for defense, and for special teams. That's a culture piece. He wants to see everyone succeed, and he's going to make sure that they succeed, and he's going to cheer them on. And if they mess up, he's still going to cheer them on because he knows what they can do. So, a little bit of a culture and leadership discussion. Now, along in those lines, holding the ball. And when I say holding the ball, I'm talking, look at any time Emmett Johnson or really anybody is running into the end zone. Luke Lindenmeyer did it, I believe. I'm sure anyone that scored did it. But when they're running into the end zone, I'll mimic it out real quick. They're running in. They put their two hands on the ball no matter what. There's a very big emphasis with this team on ball control and not fumbling it. Yes, Emmett had a fumble. That was one of those unfortunate ones where he was trying to get his arm into it, and then the way that he fell, it's just the defensive player's helmet went right at the ball. It popped out. Those happen. But it's not a Anthony Grant style fumble where he's not holding the ball correctly. So that's another culture thing. It's all about protecting the ball. Even if you're wide open and you have a lane into the end zone, you're going to put both hands on that ball. That's just how it goes. Next thing, culture and leadership-wise. It's a little bit longer, but this one will be very short. Carter Nelson blocking. He had a very big block when Ives scored that touchdown, and that's really good to see that Nelson is taking more of that tight end role. Last year, seeing him as a wide receiver more so was interesting. It was cool, but we need tight ends, as well as Harburg blocking. He is an amazing blocker, and I was happy to see him catch a few passes. But we don't have blocking issues by specialists, I'll say. So anyone not offensive line. Routine plays and consistency. This was something I talked about last week for my reaction versus against Cincinnati. People in the stadiums were like, "Oh, he's calling plays crappy, blah, blah, blah. He's not, throwing deep." Well, he couldn't. He did in this game, but they were built off routine plays. It wasn't just, all right, we're doing 4 verts. We're doing 4 verts again. We're just going to try to hit big plays. It was chunk yardage, smart play calling. They were routine plays, and the players are the ones that made sure those plays went for long yards. Not, I think we need to throw a 40-yard pass now. It was, hey, let's throw a 20-yard pass, and then the guy goes for another 24, 30 yards. That is how it should be done. Routine plays, routine plays, routine plays. Consistency, eventually it'll break. And that's what happened. Last piece of offense. Talent, we have lots of it. And building confidence. Those are 2 very, very important things when we go into games against Akron, against Houston Christian, is how does the depth look? We know who Rayola is. He's a wonderful quarterback. We know who our wide receivers are. I'll have some hot takes a little bit later about them. We know who Emmett Johnson is. We know who our offensive line is. But how does the depth go down the further we go down the chart? How does the depth play the further we go down the depth chart? TJ Lateef played really, really well. That was exciting to see him play like that. He really looked like he could be a very good quarterback in 2 years. He's a good quarterback now. I think that if we had to roll with him, we could. There would be freshman struggles. I know I've heard a lot about him being very cool, calm, and collected, but there's freshman struggles. Dylan had them last year. Lateef would have them this year if something happened, but we're fine. It's good he got in there, built up some confidence, showed us how talented he was, because a lot of times I feel like in these games in the past where we put our backups in, it's just like, oh, yeah, this isn't exciting anymore. It's run, pass, kick. Run, pass, kick. It's nothing fun. He made it exciting, passing and with his legs. And then also the running backs, it's the same thing. I love seeing Mosey get going, Ives get going, Mekhi Nelson get going. It was really good to see those guys get some yardage, because last week versus Cincinnati, they didn't really do anything. I think that was just, Cincinnati's going to be a better team than anybody thought they were. They were really good. They were solid. And Akron isn't. So, but it was good to get their confidence up. We need to see the same thing next week. All right, my 3 hot takes. I'm just going to say these. I'm not going to explain them too much, but these will be my hot takes from this week. Emmett Johnson will be our first 1,000-yard running back since Divine Ozigbo in 2018. And to me, he is reminiscent of Amir Abdullah, Rex Burkhead. To me, he's at their level. Again, these are hot takes. If you don't agree, that's cool, but he's at their level. Isaiah Hunter is the best wide receiver we've had since Trey Palmer, and Isaiah Hunter is probably better. Trey Palmer was explosive, but Isaiah Hunter, he's just consistent while also being explosive. Dane Key is good, but Dane Key reminds me of, I'm a Chargers fan, so you're going to hear these things like Derwin James. Dane Key is like Keenan Allen. He'll get you the ball, he'll get you the first down. It's 3rd and Keenan. No, it's 3rd and Key. He's going to get that first down. But Isaiah Hunter, he's going to get that 50-50 ball. It's not a 50-50 ball with him, it's an 80-20 ball. So, also, last hot take. Offensive line is the best we have seen in years. I'm talking years. They showed a replay. I forget what play it was, but it was a run play, and the offensive line was blocking, and the announcer was like, you could literally fit a tractor through that hole. You definitely could. They moved everybody out of the way, and it was just daylight for the running back. We haven't seen something like that even in these types of games versus like a Bethune-Cookman or a Fordham or anything like that. We have not seen offensive line play like that in a very long time. And before the season, I know that they were talking, when I say they, those offensive line players that were speaking, like Spindler was saying that this offensive line is maybe more talented than the Notre Dame offensive line last year. They just have to be a brotherhood, and we have to find that brotherhood, which is what we were lacking. It looks like we have that. If we do, every team in the country needs to look out. Play calling, top tier, and if you have an offensive line that's not going to let your quarterback get hit and is going to open up literally tractor holes for your running back, it's over, basically, at that point, depending on the defense. We don't want to get into shootout, but we might. That's all for the Huskers game versus Akron. I'm going to go through two different things real quick before I open up for some questions for you, the audience. Michigan versus Oklahoma. So this is just my one take from the game. To me, Michigan looked like they struggled, and that really was apparent on Sharon Moore's face. I had the game on with sound off on my iPad here while I watched the Husker game on TV, and there was a moment, I think it was at the beginning of the second half, where they had that long run where it was touchdown, and I was like, oh no. Like, this is when Oklahoma might start to lose it. They didn't. They kept their composure. Michigan, if you looked at Sharon Moore's face, I feel like he didn't know what to do. He did not seem composed. He did not seem poised. He was just like, we're not that good of a team. We have a great quarterback for a freshman, but we're not that good of a team. And that's what I like seeing, especially because he's not going to be there for their next week game against Central Michigan. I will watch that one, and he's not going to be there for the Huskers game. So good luck, Michigan. That's all I have to say to you right now. Next game, Iowa versus Iowa State. So thank goodness Iowa State pulled through. I am so sick of Iowa. I'm a Husker fan, of course, and we don't like Iowa. Iowa corn bad. Nebraska corn good. Iowa bad. Like, we do not like them. I have a feeling this will be Ferentz last year. And I think that's kind of a good thing. But it also is kind of scary because who could they get? I know there's been a lot of talk about the Kansas State coach. Kansas State ain't doing too good right now. Maybe he just needs new scenery. Maybe that's how that will go. Or there's also the old Northwestern coach. I don't think he got a job anywhere, but I could see him. Pat Fitzgerald, I think is his name. Moving over to Iowa, but I just feel like it's Kirk. It's Kirk's last year. Their offense also looks not good. Their quarterback is not good. He didn't look as bad as he did that game than he did the first game, but they're just, yeah. It's still typical Iowa, but they're not as good as typical Iowa. And that ends us off here. Talking about my takeaways, my analysis from all different phases of the ball, some hot takes, the Michigan game as well as the Iowa State game, Iowa game. And before we end off here, I have 3 questions for you. First, where does Dylan Raiola rank as a traditional quarterback in all-time Huskers history? A little bit of a hot take question, but he is a traditional quarterback, unlike Taylor Martinez, Adrian Martinez, Tommy Frazier, Erik Crouch. But where do you feel he ranks as a traditional pro-style quarterback in Husker history? How much do you think we beat Houston Christian by? Not going to say the score right now that I think it'll be. That'll be for a later video. But I want to hear from you. What do you think they'll win by? Huskers. And then have your thoughts for the Michigan game changed after this week, seeing the Huskers game, us winning by 68, versus Michigan losing to Oklahoma in a game that the score looked closer than the actual game, I feel like. But have your thoughts for Michigan changed at all? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like to continue with us on this journey. And remember, how many trophies are we going to get this year? We already got 1. Can we get the Bustin' Trophy? That's the next one. Let's see how many trophies we can put in our trophy room this year with Nebraska. Until next time.